yeah. Banter brothers, banter brothers, banter brothers. Yeah, 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 yeah. Banter brothers, banter brothers, banter brothers. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Trash talking, who the best? Who make good or bad trades? Who pick the best players? Who got certified game? We just football lovers. Come and join the funny games with the banter brothers. Banter brothers, banter brothers, banter brothers. Yeah. Banter brothers, banter brothers, banter brothers. You're now tuned in to the Banter Brothers with your host Brian Paulo and his co-host Nick Johnson, coming at you live with this week's fantasy football highlights and trash talk. Banter Brothers, banter brothers, banter brothers. Banter brothers, banter brothers, banter brothers.
Coming live at you. It's the Sonicast. Just like my game last year. I'm so hot.
Wow, how long have you been waiting for that line right there? I know, eh?
It comes to me right on the fly,
It
unfortunately.
doesn't, you know what? Hey, and we're back. Look at us.
What's going on? Happy off season.
Happy off seasons. I know this is the official start of the 2002, 22, 23.
With that kind of intelligence, you're going for it this year. Yeah, we were going to try and do it yesterday, and then, of course, someone bailed. You know, the most unreliable of us bailed. And so we couldn't mark the anniversary of the draft day #1 podcast that you started. So that's all your fault. But here we are.
Hey,
and I'm in the sauna enjoying myself.
Hey, well, though technically, I'm still on it because it's round 2 today, right? So
round 2.
We're still kind of watching it kind of in the background. We have it kind of in the background. There it is, somewhere.
Yeah, they're drafting players we've never heard of.
Yeah.
I don't know. So what's going on?
Stuff. What's going on?
Great. Listen, after the season of which I won, do you remember that I won it? It's pretty crazy. Do you know that I think Rizzy has been ducking me? He's not giving me the trophy. He's not giving me the ring. I don't even know if these things exist. I don't know what's going on.
I think you just want to hold like as many people there as possible. Like I wasn't there, Johnny wasn't there, and so I know. You gotta just wait for the ring.
I just want to pow. Just where is it? Pow. That's what I want to do.
Yeah. Just wait for the party.
I'm waiting. Anyway, so after the season, I took like a couple of month hiatus just to decompress and relax, which is, of course, when the NFL decided to essentially trade everybody for everybody.
Craziest offseason ever.
It's the craziest ever.
I can't even keep up. I have no idea what's going on. I just know what's going on with the Dolphins, and that's it. Like that banana trade right there of Hill.
Yeah, it's crazy. But you know what's really crazy? The craziest thing is what it's doing for a couple of the guys in the leagues and their keeper teams.
Yep. We can talk about that right now.
We can do it.
Let's go.
We can do it. So, I mean, let's just go with the first one, right? Which is the most obvious, which is Kevin's team, right?
Let's go about Kevin. Yes.
Yeah, that's Tyreek Hill,
Okay, so he's moved.
He has been moved. He's been moved to an awful location. Probably to live your favorite team, which goes to figure. But, I mean, it's unfortunate. I was looking at Kevin's team, and I was like, okay, there's no other choice. There's not even a second person. You're keeping Tyreek.
Hill, Lockett, Kirk, and Judy.
Yeah, none. So
it's Hill.
Yeah, it's Tyreek. There's just no other question. So Tyreek is going to a team that's got Jalen Waddle that caught like 112 passes last year or something like that.
He's going.
You've got Gesicki on the franchise tag. You've brought in Chase Edmonds, right? So you got a receiving back sort of out of the backfield. Yep. And you're still stuck with a real shitty quarterback.
He's not
So
shitty, man. Don't say that. Take that back. He's not
no,
shitty.
I
He has a
won't.
very good accuracy. Very good accuracy. He's good. You'll see. I'll prove you wrong. No, I say nay. I say nay.
You can say nay, but
I'll
let
say
me ask you
nay.
a question. Where would you rank Tyreek Hill as a wide receiver
He's still
overall
top
this year?
10. Like he's still top 10.
Maybe.
Yeah, he's still
Maybe.
top 10. Like before he was top 5. Now he's just bumped to tier 2 or tier 3. That's it. That's what I think. I still think he's still like he is elite speed. Like how come on.
No,
Like
he is.
just give
He
him the
is.
ball.
He's still Tyreek, but he doesn't have the greatest quarterback in the game getting him the ball anymore.
Come on. Like I don't like I listen, I think it's still gonna be like it's gonna be okay. It's not gonna be a big like
It's going to be okay, but it's important. If there was a guy that didn't need this, it's Kevin because Tyreek's his only choice, right? And so it's just unfortunate because he was sitting there with a top 3-4 receiver 2 months ago, and now he's sitting. Let's just say you're correct. He's sitting with a top 10, but that's significant when that's going to be your keeper.
yeah, he's top 10. But you know what else can you do? You know, you can go with Lockett because he's the only where's he now? Well, they have
there's
no quarterback
nothing.
there.
Yeah,
Kirk is
yeah,
the only guy in Jacksonville because he's on the big contract, right?
no, there's nothing you can do. If
Maybe Judy is
no,
maybe Judy over Hill
no,
with the
no,
new quarterback.
no, yeah, but again, you've got Cortland Sutton there. You've got all of the other features. It's unreliable. You don't know which one Russell Wilson is going to target a lot, right? So Kevin's got no choice. The only thing he has to do is not just automatically draft this year. Just do the auto draft.
It's probably Hill. So
It's 100% Hill. It's just unfortunate, is what I'm saying. So it's a downgrade, right? Is that his keeper has been downgraded?
correct. He's not going to get as many fantasy points as last year.
Yeah, touchdowns. And this is the
Points,
year that
value, just everything is just going to go a little bit more down in value. Everything. A
Yeah,
little bit.
yeah. So that happened, and then of course J-Rod's team, J-Rock. Jared, his Cowboys have had one of the worst off seasons I've seen in such a long time.
What are they doing, man? Like honestly, like they've just been like trading everything. I guess it's the CD Lamb show now, and that's it, right?
Well, what's strange is that they've done all of this essentially to keep Zeke, who's already an aging, not really that effective running back. If they had just gotten rid of Zeke, they could have kept Tony Pollard as a starter. You could have had Amari Cooper, and you could have done everything else, and you could have kept probably your offensive line and your defensive lineman.
Draft something, man. Draft some young guys at least. You know what I mean? Like trade them, get some picks, save some money, give them to the other guys. What the fudge, man?
Yeah.
But hey, man, Jared,
they let their defensive end agree verbally to a deal and then say, "Oh, 1 second, I agreed to the Cowboys. No, I'm changing my mind. I'm going to the Broncos." They've got like their second round pick has been a suspect in a murder case. Hello, Ray Lewis.
They got no offense. They got some weird. They got an offensive tackle again.
Yeah, it's brutal.
I'm like this. Whatever, man. It's like
it's
this.
brutal. If you actually
Jared picking again, is it Jared that's just picking? He says, "You're not picking. I'm picking."
If you listen to the announcer Mel Kiper, who's like the draft guru,
yeah,
he was giving his thing. He's like, he's very bad. He's very bad. He's very bad. And it's like, but he's big and strong. It's like, okay. Well.
Okay, well, you can keep that one.
Yeah, so Jared's team, the Cowboys, have not had a very good season. And his league team, his fantasy league team, has also been Tyreek. Because you've got Devontae Adams going to the Raiders.
Well,
which was probably going to be his keeper for this year.
Yeah.
But now you're going to the Raiders. Okay, so you're downgrading a quarterback, right? And so you don't really know, is he going to be as hyper-targeted? Derek Carr was certainly really throwing a lot to Darren Waller, and then you've got Hunter Renfrow underneath for the short passes, so you really don't know how that's going to look.
But now he has a stud. Carr has a stud. Now he has a guy who can maybe get him a couple more 4 or 5 extra touchdowns just from his ability, right? Well, he didn't have that from the other guys, really.
They're good real life trades.
You got a top 5 guy.
I'm just talking fantasy, right?
Yeah.
So what is Devontae Adams at this point, right? When you have a lesser quarterback with more weapons that Carr has already been hyper targeting for a while, where does that go? I have no idea, by the way, and I'm happy that I don't have to decide this. But initially, up until about 4 days ago, I thought, okay, well,
I agree.
back up, he could have kept Javonte Williams, who looked to be in line for the major starting role on the Denver Broncos' new offense. Great. And then they just signed Melvin Gordon 3 days ago, so it's back to the time. So he's lost that.
So he's back on the same train. So he has also Kelsey and Waddle. So again,
yeah, but you're not going to keep those as your keeper.
Listen, I hear you. I'm just kind of, just telling you what his options are. Right?
Those are the two guys, Jared and Kevin, that have been screwed by this offseason.
By trades, yes.
Yeah, just screwed. Because they're obviously great players, but you have no idea. I can't imagine them doing better, right?
I can see Adams doing good. To tell the truth, I can see Adams doing the exact same thing that he was kind of doing.
Exact same?
Yeah, I really do, because now I think Carr is good, but now we're going to kind of see what kind of Carr just got an extension. Like, he's not going to do like Rodgers stuff, but like I think it's still going to do a big. I think Adams is much better than Hill outcome. I think it is.
I don't know, man. I honestly don't know.
I want Hill
to go down, but it's not going to be as efficient of an offense, and he's not going to get as many touchdowns, which is a lot of fantasy points, right? So a
lot of sharing the ball. That's one thing. That's a lot of sharing the ball.
Yeah,
but we'll see.
Yep. Listen, this is the thing, and it leads into what we're going to discuss, obviously, and whatever it is, rule changes or whatever the case is when you have one keeper and you just don't know how the offseason, and this offseason has been absolutely bananas, right? Like it's unprecedented, so you just don't know how it's going to go. So. From an off-season standpoint, there's so many. I wrote all of these things down, like all of this crazy. And this is before the draft that happened last night, where AJ Brown gets traded. Hollywood.
That's a lot of money, man. Yeah,
it's crazy. I've got Deshaun Watson, Mike Rizzi's rapist, and Amari Cooper going to the Browns. Right. The Broncos pick up Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
Colts pick up Matt Ryan. Chiefs Juju. Devontae Adams to the Raiders, Allen Robinson to the Rams, Chase Edmonds and Mostert are at the Dolphins, along with Tyreek Hill, of course. Devontae Parker to the Patriots. Mitchell Trubisky, it's not really that great, but it's still Mitchell Trubisky to the Steelers. Robert Woods to the Titans.
Yeah.
Obviously, A.J. Brown to the Eagles. Carson Wentz and the Commanders. There's just been a lot of movement.
Yeah,
that wasn't necessarily expected.
Yeah, lots of movement. Still, I think there's even more that we missed, to tell you the truth. Like there's tons.
Well, I tried to just pick out the ones that would sort of be potentially impactful, right? So
Marquise Brown, our first round, Arizona.
Yeah.
Yesterday, like that one, that like.
Yeah, but what is that? I don't even know what that is. But yeah, he's on the move. So there's just a lot of situations that I think, from a real life football standpoint, are pretty good situations. But from a fantasy standpoint, I have no idea.
Yeah.
Right. And like the money being given out to the receivers, it's just changing the game all over the place, right?
It's bananas.
So if I don't know, like the Eagles look on paper to be great, but Jalen Hurts can't throw. So you've got this great receiving core, but what does it mean? I have no idea. So AJ Brown would have been like a top 15 receiver.
Well, I think Hurts is on a he's only on like one more year, like and then
one more year, and then of course that's what they set it up for. So if he sucks this year, then they're just going to try and draft a quarterback next year.
Direct the window, which the classes I heard is a little bit better.
Yeah, but they're not going to suck. That's the problem. So Jalen Hurts technically sucked this year, right? But they still got him into the playoffs at like a 9-7 record, because you're just
Fantasy Valley. He was good, like he was okay.
So you're not going to get a high draft pick though, right?
Yeah.
So who knows how that looks? But it's like, okay, Derrick Henry now is with the Titans, and so Robert Woods is your number one receiver, which he's never been a number one receiver.
And the new guy now, who they just picked up.
Yeah, he's a big fatso.
Big boy.
That's what they can't run.
Big boy, yeah.
He's a big fatso. Anyway. So are they just going to say, okay, well, I guess we'll just stop Derrick Henry then?
Yeah.
It affects everything, right?
Yeah.
Because the idea behind AJ Brown is that you couldn't stop him and he was fast.
Yeah.
Right? So they had to guard against it. But, Robert Woods is just a route runner. He's not a dynamic offensive player. He's just a good quality player.
He's
and
like a
he's
Mike
coming off an
Williams.
ACL.
He's a
So
Mike
who
Williams.
you should know.
Yeah.
Lots going on.
Yeah. Anyways, who do you want to talk about next?
Who do I want to talk about? Well, so we talked about the offseason.
No. Like for keepers, like where are we at now? We're at Jared. We did Jared. We did Kevin.
Well, I just chose the two guys that were essentially fucked.
Okay.
Essentially. Oh, I mean, you want to go through each team and say who we think?
Yeah, let's go through everyone. I have them all here right now. So like we could do Mike. Let's do Mike next.
Oh, well, it's obviously Calvin Ridley, right?
Obviously, it's Calvin Ridley. Mike, he's going to have a huge season.
Huge. He's going to win a lot of money from the early game parlays. I don't know what that means, by the way. I just listened to like a gambling.
Yeah. No.
But yeah, I mean, if I'm looking here, and this is what I was saying to him last year when I was trying to trade for all of his guys. I mean, he picked up a lot of guys at the end of the season that are just name guys that were injured or out,
Right.
but none of them do anything for me. I mean, you're looking at DeAndre Swift.
Hopkins.
No, can't go Hopkins. Can't go Hopkins for a keeper. He's too old. He gets injured. He's unreliable. You know, he's a good receiver for sure. I had him last year.
Mm-hmm.
He'll sort of break your heart in certain games and stuff like that, but you can't go for him for your keeper. You know,
I hear you.
my mind, it's DeAndre Swift.
Swift or Hopkins, it's Swift is what RB. What is he at right now? Would you think for this year?
I'd say probably like an 8, 9, 10.
He's top 10 for sure.
Yeah, like a top 10, but yeah, he's there with an opportunity for more, right? Because he's still young. He's only in year 2, or he'll be going into year 3.
They have nothing in Detroit.
Yeah, I mean they've got their
new guy.
Team is improving, right? So yeah, I mean I think that's the guy that you would keep if I was him.
Yeah. Hopkins is top 10, but maybe not top 10, maybe 15. 15 now? Maybe top 15?
Oh, Hopkins? No, Hopkins is like maybe top 20. He's old.
I know he's old, but he can play. Like he still has he can play. Like he can play.
He definitely can play, but he's
the number one guy still, like in his team.
Jared said this to me last year, and it's true. And he said to me when I drafted him, he said, I had him last year. You're gonna fucking hate him. And I said, no, man, he's great. And the truth is that he was great when Deshaun Watson was throwing him the ball.
Yeah.
But since he's gone to Arizona, he is Kyler Murray's trusted piece, but it's not a well-run team and it's not a well-oiled offense.
Well, maybe it's different now because now Arizona has another weapon, Marquise Brown. I guess we can talk about Johnny next. And so Marquise Brown just went over there. See that little segue? Put that. Put that. And so Marquise Brown, Hopkins could help the load, maybe.
Yeah, but as a keeper?
Well, I'm just saying, maybe Hopkins is going to be better. Like even for Brown, who do you think is going to do better with Murray, Brown or Hopkins?
Oh, I still think that Hopkins is still the number one guy. But don't forget, Hollywood Brown is replacing Christian Kirk, right? And Christian Kirk was a fast receiver, right? Now, Hollywood has a little bit more pedigree and also has a relationship with Kyler Murray from their college days.
Yeah.
But it's not a well-run offense, and so he's replacing Christian Kirk. I mean, obviously they don't have AJ Green back there at this point, so he could be certainly a number 2, and he's probably going to be pretty good. But these fast receivers, they're just not terribly reliable, right? So unless Kyler Murray becomes just a better quarterback at throwing the ball, I mean, I don't know. I mean, what's Hollywood like? Top 30, 20 to 30?
He is good sometimes. He is good when he's on, but he needs to be more consistent. Maybe Murray is the consistent guy because of his old teammate.
I mean, look at it like this, right? The Ravens traded him away.
Yeah.
He's been injured, unreliable, has the drops. I don't know. He's fine. He's good in real life for what he's going to do for that team. It gives.
Well, I think the Ravens traded him away because I think the other guy's going to be number one guy, Bateman. So
maybe, yeah. But now they only have one receiver.
That's the only one they have now.
That's all they need, right?
So Johnny would either be Gibson, safe choice,
Well,
or Pitts. That's all he has.
well, you can't go Pitts because Pitts hasn't shown it, and now they don't have a quarterback at all in Atlanta, and that team is going to be god awful. So you can't go Pitts for sure. It's going to be Gibson. It's going to be Gibson or AJ Brown.
Oh yeah, AJ Brown.
I mean, it's really got to be what it is. I mean, you could do, a long shot. You won't do this, of course, Johnny, but you could do an outside shot at Darnell Mooney because of just what he was doing late last season. But you're not going to do it. But really, outside of that,
No,
you're not-
Gibson's a safe choice. He's 15. He has the potential to be up there too, because
Yeah.
Washington, what the hell?
yeah,
did they-
no, I think Gibson is the right call. But I mean, on the off chance for whatever reason, say an injury happens or whatever, I think it's AJ Brown next. In
Okay,
my opinion, at this moment in time.
okay. So Johnny Gibson,
Yeah.
That's kind of safe there.
That's what I would do if I was Johnny.
Okay, what about Chris
Wow.
McCaffrey?
Well,
Still McCaffrey?
I mean, listen,
McCaffrey all the way?
McCaffrey is barely as good as Saquon. Like barely.
Hey, I told you in the points, he got him. So
There's no other choice. It's CMC and you move on, right? So there's just it is what it is. If you were to look outside of that,
it's
God,
Metcalf. That's all he has.
yeah, I guess. But no
And Metcalf-
quarterback Metcalf?
Unless Metcalf gets a super duper quarterback or he gets traded away, into a super duper team. But no way, man. Unless he has Aaron Rodgers throwing to him,
God, I honestly I might choose Hunter Renfrow over DK Metcalf this year.
Listen, unless he gets traded, unless Metcalf gets traded to a wicked ass quarterback, imagine if he goes to Green Bay.
Listen, they might try and get ahead of the Debo wave and get in for where
Debo, one of those guys, right? So
yeah, I don't want to talk about my beloved 49ers right now, but poor Debo.
He did that like a week ago. He took himself out of the whole Twitter and everything. He, this was actually like a long time ago before the whole.
Yeah, breaks my heart.
Okay, Doug. Doug has some choices.
Doug.
Cup, Harris, or Henry.
What's that song again? It's like, have you ever listened to a photograph and the thing in the pond's a zoo? And all I want to find is my best friend Doug and give him a best friend hug. Doug. Yeah, that's me. Doug, listen. It's either Najee or it's Derek, right? Or you could go Cooper Kupp. Listen, for a guy that didn't do well in the playoffs, his team is really rocking, right? Like,
yes,
I look forward to trying to draft one of the players that he drops.
I'm very happy to choose one of your bad selections that you dropped. Yes, 100%. Yes.
Yeah, honestly, it's changed a little bit. So it's either Cooper Kupp for me.
But the Rams just got a new guy.
Huh?
The Rams just got a new receiver.
Yeah,
right?
but it doesn't matter because Stafford and Kupp, you're not going to mess with that.
No,
right?
I get it, but do you think Kupp is still going to have the exact same season that he had?
Well, he can't possibly have the exact same season because it was a record-breaking season.
I understand. That's my whole point. Do you think he's going to have another record-breaking season?
It was the best wide receiver season by a country mile.
I get
right?
that.
So
he's not going to get that.
No, he's not going to do that exact same season. But what's Derrick Henry going to be with no AJ Brown there, right? And then what's Najee going to be with Trubisky at the helm and not Roethlisberger? Could be better, could be worse, right? Like you just don't know. So it's between those three, and I wish Doug luck in deciding it. And I will be happy to draft any of the other two.
That's a tough one. I don't know what I would choose. I like Harris because he has a little bit more upside. Because I'm not sure about Henry. I want Henry, but
here's what it'll be decided.
Like he's up in the age. How old is he now? 30? 31?
Yeah.
Henry?
Well, I think he's 20. No. I think he's 28 or 29. But for the type of running back that he is, it's
the bruiser. Yeah.
Yeah. But this is what I would say, right?
I don't even have him circled.
Yeah, but so with Doug, it all comes down for this, right? Is you don't have to make your keeper selection until after you already know what your draft position is.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can change it based on that, right? And based on who's sort of kicking around and available.
Question mark for Doug.
Yeah, because it's like, okay, do you go with, say, let's just say I'm going to keep Najee, let's just say as an example, and he was a rookie last year, so you've got 7 or 8 good viable years in theory where you can just keep him year over year in theory.
Pound Harris, yeah.
But if you keep Derrick Henry and you get, let's say you take him this year and he falls off the cliff a little bit, right? Like he just sort of does an old Eddie George thing and he just loses a step and everything else, right? So you're not going to keep him, which means that you better have drafted a player that's sort of a top 10-ish player. Otherwise, you're restarting again, right? Mm-hmm. So it's a little bit tricky, you know. Like the safer bet between those two would be Cooper. That's what I'm saying. So I think I would probably at this point go Derrick Henry, Cooper Kupp, and then Najee.
Okay.
But they're all really good choices.
Okay, I would go Najee. That's me.
There you go. You always like the young guys.
I just have to. I have to go once in a while away from you. Just how it is, right?
Well,
Curtis has what?
No, I was just going to say, listen. You know, I mean, if you see the winning way, and you want to go another way, I mean, I allow you to form your own path in life. You don't got to go my way.
I don't go your way.
That's how you don't win.
Okay, you can't lucky. Look, just that's starting right there. Okay, let's talk about Curtis here for a second. Here, okay.
Curtis
has some choices. Myself, he has some choices too. I know Eckler's is obviously the obviously choice. He has Emmons. Okay, not so much because he got traded to Miami, but you know, more choices. CeeDee Lamb is more. He's the guy, and more options are trading away guy, and now it seems like he's the guy.
No, the Cowboys are a dumpster fire. I mean, CeeDee Lamb is definitely the guy.
Big time, but Lamb has really more upside now, I would think.
Well, again, like you're not wrong, but you're absolutely totally wrong at the same time. like CeeDee Lamb is the number one guy. There's no doubt about that, 100%. But the Cowboys are a dumpster fire. And so their O-line is getting really beaten up and old. Right, they've wasted that and they squandered it. They've done nothing with it. Zeke Elliott is old and busted, right? And so now you don't have Amari Cooper. You have Michael Gallup as the number 2 to pull defenses away from CeeDee Lamb, which, I mean, maybe not. It's just he's not keeper at this point. I mean, it's going to be Austin Eckler, and you just walk away and you're happy because that offensive line is great. They picked up another offensive lineman in the first rounder, so they've just improved that as well, right? Mm-hmm. You got Justin Herbert, obviously, and up and up and up and up. You still got your 2 wide receivers there. Your offense is intact. You got to go Austin Eckler. That's like I looked at this like his guys are good, like Aaron Jones.
I like that.
But what's Green Bay's offense this year?
Aaron Jones. We're going to just give it to Aaron Jones.
Like, he's just not keeper. Like, you draft him for sure.
I get it. Don't get me wrong. I know, but it's Eckler because it's Eckler, I think. You know, it's
Eckler. Yeah, it's Eckler. 100% is Eckler. Like, if Eckler would ever tears the ACL in the preseason.
There's choices, you know. So,
yeah. But if Eckler's out, then you start looking at the Aaron Jones and CeeDee Lamb and you just live with it. But it's Eckler a whole 100%.
Now, Taylor has a lot.
Poor Taylor.
To choose from, which will be a very good for us. Don't get me wrong. Like we are going to be very happy. He might get another one back again, but I'll tell you, there's some goodies right there in his bag.
He's got a lot of goodies. And then the question is, though, is that they're all sort of clumped around the same area-ish. Yep. So it's really a pick your poison, right?
Correct.
You know, which is what got him into trouble in the championship game because he had all of those great wide receivers.
Too many choices.
Yeah. He drank that poison, right?
Yeah.
So like Mixon, Kamara, Chubb, Chase, like all of those guys.
Elliott, Jefferson.
Yeah, Elliott's out. Jefferson, you're right.
Mixon in there, I would even say.
Yeah, but I mean, again, like you can say it and it's fine, but like Mixon was like a top 4 running back last year, or top something like that. So you're looking at those guys and you're going, okay, like if they were to be all redrafted, let's say you started right at the beginning, they're all being drafted in that sort of probably that 6 to 11 or 12 range, I think. Depends on what you're looking for, right? So do you go with the young hotness and Jamar Chase, right? You know what I mean? Do you just say he's up and up and up and that's it? He's my guy, but then you forego the running back because Taylor traded away his first to Johnny.
No,
So
no,
now,
I get it. So you were correct on that one. That's right. You did trade away his first. So now do you get stuck with if he goes with wide receiver Chase or Jefferson? It's either those two.
well, they're great choices.
Kamara is not Kamara, so
Well, I mean, Kamara is, yeah, like they picked up a wide receiver in the first round yesterday. So you've got Michael Thomas coming back, right?
Yep.
You've got Jameis Winston there. So
yeah,
I mean, it's
a
better offense. It's a better offense than it was last year. But
Yes.
Jameis also isn't that great at throwing to the running back, which is where Kamara makes his bread and butter generally. So it's really tricky. It's really tricky. Honestly, like I'm usually a running back guy, like early.
Yeah, first round.
Yeah, but I think I don't know. I think I might go wide
For
receiver.
keepers again, then you have to kind of go for age and how many years can you keep the guy? Like so,
Yeah.
that's the next thing. If you can't choose, next step is value for long term, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's Jefferson or Chase to me. If I had to really make the choice, but luckily he doesn't have to make the choice for a while, and he can sort of see.
I like
something
Chase.
pops up or pops down.
I like
It's one of those two, I think.
Chase and Burrows are just bread and butter, man. Like that's
Yeah, I mean, it's just. I mean, they're certainly not bad players to have as keepers. He's just got so many that he could definitely make. He could definitely choose one of the four and be wrong, but it's also the right choice at the time. So
he'll be fine. As long as he doesn't pick Elliott.
I don't think he's gonna pick Elliott. His team has such an embarrassment of riches. Explain to me how I won again, besides with my mind.
Trickery. You use sorcery, okay? We're not gonna get into that's another episode on its own. Okay.
Episode. Yeah.
Well, let's go. Mine will be easy. Mine's JT.
Yeah, you're right.
Mine's 100% the easiest one out of all because I drafted Wicked last year. JT. Thank you. You, on the other hand, have some choices too.
Well, as the champion, I'm not that stressed out about it. Well, if I'm looking right now, as it stands, it's Dalvin Cook, right? Pending some if there's something that comes up as a result of like that legal litigation for the alleged sexual impropriety.
Waiting for that. Listen, I hear you. It is Cook, but you got a lot of question marks. You are correct.
100%. After that, I've got question marks. 100%. Yeah, because the way that I designed my winning team last year is that it was all based on playoff matchups. So it really wasn't to keep the best players for keepers for next year. It was all for playoff matchups, right? So you're right. It's Dalvin Cook, and after that, it would be Debo or Stephon Diggs. Correct.
So if Debo goes hypothetically to Green Bay, does that change your perspective on number one guy?
No.
Not even with Aaron Rodgers, or like Debo could be
great, but I wouldn't pick. So let's say Debo becomes Devontae Adams, which would be great, right? Like let's just say
Devontae too.
I would still be drafting Dalvin Cook over Devontae Adams anyway, right? So the thing that made Debo so great is that the San Francisco 49ers, my team, started using him as a running back as well. So it really increased his value, and he had like insane efficiency. But apparently that's part of the reason why he wants out, because he doesn't want to be used as a running back anymore. So it loses some of that effectiveness and pop a little bit.
Interesting.
Yeah. So so that's what it is. It's definitely, if something happens to Dalvin, then I'm looking at those two and then seeing what the tea leaves are. I mean, I have to think that the Debo situation is going to get resolved one way or the other.
I would think before training camp, at least.
You hope so.
I don't know what's gonna. That's bananas, but hey.
I don't know. It's the year of the wide receiver, buddy. Everyone's going, I can get 30 million.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah. It
So-
started with who was the one who did before Hill? Was it
It was
Adams?
Devontae was the first
It was
one.
Adams who was the first
Oh
one.
no, you know what they say it was actually is it was Christian Kirk because Christian Kirk was seen as sort of like the third wide receiver in Arizona. He was just sort of a speed slot guy, and
Yeah.
Jacksonville gave him a massive contract.
Yeah.
And so that was really the domino that set it off. It's like, well, if that fucking retard is getting that,
Yeah.
and that's what started the whole thing.
Okay. Now, what else do you want to talk? You want to talk about the draft, I guess, because that's what's on right now. I guess we should talk about the draft. Any draft fantasy eligible players that are would make an impact for next year?
Well, this draft was a pretty shit draft, to be fair, from a fantasy standpoint.
Yeah.
It was wide receiver heavy.
Yeah.
And so there's a couple of guys that maybe you could see doing something.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm losing all. Listening and see if I have some of their names right here. I wrote them down, but I wrote them down before the draft, so I'm just gonna have to. So Drake London, if I'm not mistaken, went to Atlanta. Well,
Correct.
Atlanta has no wide receiver, no quarterback, so that doesn't matter.
Quarterback and a wide receiver, really, right now.
So that's it. So he's gone. Jamison Williams, who I think is the best of all of the bunch, he went to Detroit.
Yeah.
It's a great pickup for Detroit, but he's going to be out at least for half of the season. So he's prime on Brian's target to pick up and just ride with it.
Yeah,
but ultimately, when he comes back, who's throwing him the ball? You know what I mean?
Okay.
A really shitty quarterback.
That's the only one who they're going to throw to, right? It's this guy, but he's not going to be ready this year. It's going to be next.
So from a fantasy standpoint, you're out, right? Garrett Wilson, he went to
the Jets.
Thank you, the Jets. That has a potential to be good if Zach Wilson develops pretty well, but it's where do you draft him again? Because
but it's the Jets, Nick. Come on.
I get it. But like Zach Wilson, he was pretty good at the tail end of last year. He's going to be coming into his second year. If he turns out to be a guy and he hyper targets him, which is why you picked up what's his name last year,
Davis.
That's right.
I was hoping for that magic, but
that's right. So if that happens, then that could be a little bit of something. But
yeah, but the Jets just picked up another offensive guy, another running back.
Yeah. We'll talk about that because I think I do like that pickup a lot. But Treylon Burks, who's a big fat fuck, went to the Titans. Brown trade essentially. He's not going to be anything because he's a big fat fuck and he's going to be eating a hot dog on the sidelines.
He's a big boy. That big fat fuck. He's a big boy. Okay. Yeah. He can move some bodies. Oh, and you forgot Olaf.
No, I haven't forgotten him. He went to the Saints.
Yeah.
Right? Went to the Saints. Good. Right? Good. You got Michael Thomas on one hand. Mm-hmm. You got Olaf on the other.
Yeah.
Wonderful. You've got Winston doing his Winston things, whatever that is. But what is that? Right? Like you've lost your left tackle. You've got Kamara to feed. Michael Thomas is the possession receiver, and so Olaf as a rookie is going to be that speedster going down.
Yeah.
But what does that mean? I don't know what that means.
It's like Jaden Waddle last year, I think, maybe for him.
Yeah, like they're all like fine, like they're all worth flyers, sort of, but like there's not one that stands out where you're going like Olaf and Wilson would be probably the top two for what to go for consistency throughout the year.
Yeah.
But Christian Watson, who just got picked up by Green Bay in the second round, that would probably be my pick because Green Bay has nobody.
Yeah, there's nobody.
They have nobody. The guy's huge. He's 6'4". He's 208. He runs like a speed demon and he jumps like Mike Williams does, but he's really raw, right? So I hear you. Because Aaron Rodgers has got to throw to somebody. That would probably be the first guy for me.
Yeah. I see them list.
That's my overall analysis of the wide receiver position for the 2000s.
The only one would do. Yeah, that's the only one I can kind of see. There was Dobson. She missed Dobson, who went to Washington, number 16.
Yeah, Washington sucks. Have you seen they have Wentz?
Yeah,
It's great for Terry McLaurin. Like
yeah,
having Wentz there, that's the best quarterback he's ever had. It'll be good for him. But
yeah.
Wentz isn't the guy that's going to involve multiple receivers, right? So it's like, okay, so he goes there. I'm not picking him up.
No, I get it. You know, you also have Kenny Pickett, the quarterback, who went to Pittsburgh.
Well, I mean, listen.
Mr. Trubisky's not going to last. I'll tell you that. You think he's going to be the guy? I don't know.
Well, I think he's going to be the guy for probably
Eventually.
about 6 games. I think he's going to be the guy for about 6 games, and then they're going to give it to Kenny Pickett because Kenny Pickett is supposed to be the most NFL ready quarterback in this draft. And by all accounts, apparently a good comparison for Kenny Pickett is Mitch Trubisky. So
That's funny.
apparently this is true. So this is what I'll say, okay, is Ben Roethlisberger was old busted last year, right? He couldn't move. He couldn't throw. He was so big, people couldn't tackle him. So he stood in the pocket a lot. But that's really it. So I really do think that either one of those quarterbacks is an upgrade over Ben Roethlisberger from a talent standpoint,
Yeah.
where he was at. So I think that it's good for Najee Harris. Maybe, except that Ben Roethlisberger kept dumping off to Najee, which is how he got a lot of his points. So I think that having him be a better passer to their wide receivers could just create more space. But I mean, I don't know, man.
I like Olaf.
Has Malik Willis been actually
just
drafted yet?
I'm literally just checking him right now to see if he got drafted.
Honestly, I have to say, the quarterbacks all
The wait
suck.
continues for Malik Williams.
Yeah.
Oh my God, another quarterback. Oh my God, another quarterback got picked before him.
Ritter?
Yeah, to Atlanta.
That's good.
Where he's supposed to go, right?
Well, that's a good spot for him. Yeah.
You know, that's where Malik Wilson. That's where I had a weird feeling that Atlanta was going to pick him.
I kind of have a feeling that the Titans are going to grab him. Are the Titans coming up?
Yeah, well, they're on the clock is the Ravens. So
No,
I'm
they're
just
not
going to
gonna.
see who else got picked up here quickly. Rounds. Bananas.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
I will say though, usually all of the GMs are reaching, even when there's shitty players and stuff like that. They just reach, and I'm shocked that these guys actually held this restraint and just nobody drafted a running back in round 1.
No,
And that would have been considered a reach, and no one drafted a quarterback outside of Pittsburgh, which is considered a reach to begin with anyway. But you watch all of the rest not be drafted in round 2. It's really quite shocking.
it is actually. Fudge. I'm just looking at it right here. Kansas City got Sky Moore, the wide receiver. I thought they were going to go another big wide receiver.
No, I think Sky Moore is tiny, isn't he? Isn't he a tiny speedster?
Yeah. James Buffalo picked up a running back, James Cook from Georgia, number 63.
Well, I was really hoping that they were. I was really hoping that they were going to pick up one of the big 2 running backs, which of course didn't happen. I do like what's his name, Brees Hall. I do like that pickup for the Jets.
Yeah, but the Jets have a lot of running backs. They have the other guys too that are pretty decent.
Well, listen, I have a lot of shit, but it doesn't mean that they're all the same. Like Brees Hall is a big, fast MNFer. All right, that's really it. And so you can say, oh, but they have Michael Carter. It's like, yeah, and he was drafted in the 4th or 5th round. Like he was fine for what it was, but he's a receiving back, right? You know what I mean? Like Brees Hall, he could honestly have an impact, not the same as Jonathan Taylor, but he could have an impact, sort of a Jonathan Taylor like. He's a big guy. I got to say, he's 5'11". I wrote this down. This is how
It's you, eh?
He's 5'11". He's 227. Okay, he's got 4.4 speed. He's fast. He's big. Okay, and so the scouts seem to say, not Nick Johnson, the scouts, that the only downside for him is that he really is sort of a north and south runner, sort of like a la a Derrick Henry, and that he doesn't have a lot of side to side wiggle.
Okay.
Right? But from what the Jets are doing, if he comes in as their number one running back, from a fantasy standpoint, I get in on that action, right? Kenneth Walker going to Seattle, he's going with Rashad Penny is there, Chris Carson is there. How many touches? It feels a little bit like that Melvin Gordon, Javonte Williams. Like, what is it going to be? I wouldn't touch him this year, right? So, because how many guys need to go down for Kenneth Walker to get real life touches, right? Like if Chris Carson goes down, they got Rashad Penny. If Rashad Penny goes down, they got Chris Carson. So you really need both of them to go down, right?
Have you checked the rankings for 2002, the early rankings?
Like the player rankings?
Yeah.
No, I'm not insane. I would.
You're not insane? I thought you were insane. Come on.
No. I feel very ill prepared for this.
Tier 1, Jonathan Taylor.
Tier 1. Okay, here we go, guys.
Yeah. I got tier 1. Taylor. Eller number 2. Henry number 3. McCaffrey number 4. Cook number 5 for running backs. And then Kupp, wide receiver 1, still makes tier 1.
Who?
Kupp. Sorry, Cooper Kupp.
Sorry, who still makes tier 1?
Cooper Kupp still makes tier 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but things change obviously as the off season, and then there's always going to be a couple of injuries that happen, and et cetera, et cetera. I mean, I have my general thoughts and philosophies, but like I'll keep them to myself.
Okay. Ooh.
Whatever. But no, I haven't really started. There's no reason to research any of this stuff yet. I just love the draft because I think that from a television standpoint, I just think it's the best produced one, and I find it very entertaining, right?
Oh, NFL is pure entertainment. Like
the NHL, honestly, like when you start paying attention to like the NBA and the NFL, the NHL just looks like a bunch of podunks. Yeah. Like they really do. Like they just run it so boringly. They're sitting like an arena. The kids are already boring to begin with, and they're sitting there with their parents looking miserable in the stands. Takes a million years for them to come down. It's awful. Gary Bettman and his weird shaking thing where I'd like to welcome you to the NHL. Like, what the fuck's going on there? He's got a seizure going on. So it's always interesting to sort of see where things go and get excited by it and stuff like that. But yeah, this is like the warm up. Like, hey, we're still here. We're still crazy.
Hello.
Yeah, we've got a couple of house cleaning things that I got to get rid of right here. Like just to let everybody know. So I'm obviously sitting in my sauna right now, but I'm down in my basement. I'm finishing it. And Brian was nice enough to come over and drywall tape my basement, like a wonderful friend that he is that has skills. Mm-hmm. And he charged me a certain amount of money. And I subsequently said to him, well, I'm going to have to take $10 off of that. Because I know I wasn't getting my money any other way.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
Brian and I had a bet as he was trying to shit talk me at the beginning of the season that he was going to beat me. But unfortunately for him, I won. So I get $10 taken off the top of the drywall taping. And I also get to name his team. I don't forget.
I can't wait for this. Yeah.
I can't wait either. So this is a shout out to all of my brethren out there.
Yep.
Come up with whatever ideas you want. I'm going to collect them. I'm going to ask my wife. I'm going to ask my kids. I don't have social media, so I'll just ask my neighbors when I'm drunk or something like that. I'll get a name up there. There's going to be a name. So anybody's got a good idea, you send it my way.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yep.
Well, we got to come up with another bet actually for the beginning of the season. So I got to think.
Yeah, I'll let you think about it.
Yeah.
I'll let you think about how you want to lose and what you want to lose.
I'm not going to lose this time. I'm going to put a lot of time and effort. More time and effort than I ever did before. I'll tell you this right now. I'm making a lot of. I'm moving things around so I can just kind of focus on what I need to do.
No. You're moving from your home. You're starting a new life. You're going to be somewhere else. You're going to be smoking weed all day on like a cottage block.
When does it start? Yeah, I'll be settled by then. When's the NFL draft? Well, theoretically, when do we have to draft? When's this draft again?
Okay, so generally speaking, the first game is like the Thursday of, I think, the second week of September. So say roughly around September 10th or 11th-ish. So the idea would be to I think what would be, like, to be fair, you choose your keeper at the, by the end of the 4th week of preseason just to make sure that you're not choosing a keeper that's got an injury, to be fair, with an idea of the draft being a couple of days later. But
so you're talking like a week before the draft, you can submit your keeper?
Yeah, I think so. Like, this is all being said. This is the very first off season going in where we've done a keeper. So I have never administratively had to do it. So I don't know how all of that works. But I that's what I'm eyeing is like, why couldn't we do it like that, right?
Right.
You have to obviously choose before the draft. But to be fair, because this isn't my job, I don't want to do it like, no, it's not my job. I don't want to have to do it like the day before the draft or the day of the draft or, oh, sorry, I haven't got back to you, whatever the case is. So 2 or 3 days or whatever before the draft. So it's all done and squared away. You've chosen your keeper. Everyone that wants to plan, like Brian, that's going to be planning a lot more this year, can see who the keepers are.
Yeah, the summertime, I'm on vacay. Like, I am just going to, podcast, and we'd be like Nick now. I'm like, this, don't talk to me. I'm on podcast.
Yeah, you know what? Listen, I am so confident because it's not just about listening. It's about hearing as well, Brian. You got to hear as well as listen.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what I listen to.
Here's the thing. No one's going to trade with you this year, Nick. I'll tell you this right now. Don't trade with Nick. That was the thing. Yeah.
Why?
Everyone knows your shtick now.
I made a great trade with Mike.
How many trades did you make with Mike?
I don't remember.
You don't remember?
I just remember the Debo one.
4.
I made 4. Yeah, but that's when Mike was trading with everybody. Like, Mike was essentially like a whore down on John Street. She was just giving it up for everybody.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. No, like I overpaid. Listen, I overpaid for Debo. I gave Javonte, I gave DeAndre Swift, Calvin Ridley, pre-suspension Calvin Ridley. Okay, and like I overpaid, and then Mike subsequently traded Javonte to Jared for something or whatever the case is. I did some good trades for sure that worked out.
You also did some really just, I don't know, Nick.
I can't even argue with you because I don't remember. I've forgotten it all. It was such a blur. I was just working my ass off last year.
You greased up a lot of people.
No, come on, grease up. Maybe the one with Kevin.
Oh,
I would do that one again.
Finally admitted now. The one with maybe the one with Kev. No,
the
one with Kevin. Yeah.
No.
Okay.
In retrospect, I had talked to Kevin, and I thought that he was, but he was still learning, and I realized that when he tried to drop Judy after he just traded with him, and he's like, all right, because he was looking at the point. So he's learning. So I just, in retrospect, like, I asked him if he was interested in doing trades, and he said yes. I didn't offer him a trade during that initial question, and because he said yes, as a grown-up to a grown-up, I just said okay. That's it. So in retrospect, I wouldn't probably have done that. Yeah, just in retrospect. But leading into next year, there's also some. I know we sort of briefly talked about it last year, and nobody sent me any messages this year as far as any thoughts on any rule changes that you think would make it better. I wrote a couple down, but I honestly can't even remember how early.
I can't remember them either.
Like, I have PTSD from the whole thing, so I wrote down. Like, obviously for this year going in, because this is what we agreed to, there's one keeper, right? That's what we agreed to, so that's not changing for sure prior to the season. But going into next season, it's important to have these things to understand, because it can change your philosophies. Is, do you want to keep it at 1? Do you want to move it to 2 or 3? You know what I mean? Because that affects, obviously, like, say, like Risky Rizzy and all of his trades, you're not going to empty out your entire team if you're keeping 2 or 3. You know what I mean? And then also, do you want to, following this season, because again, it's not for this season, do you want to tie your draft pick ranking to your previous season's record, right? So that means that you don't get any of my wonderful videos. It's just, if you're in last, then you're drafting first next year, and that's what it is, right? And so, that's not being decided for this upcoming draft, because Taylor traded away his first, and he was like, I really wish I knew what my ranking was. And it's like, yeah, that's not what it is. So it would be moving forward after this year do people want to tie that in? Those are two that come up in my brain, but I don't remember anything else.
I can't remember.
There was the waiver thing that Taylor talked about,
Yeah,
but I think talking with other people back then, I think it just makes more sense because not everybody is tied to their computer.
Correct.
To their phone. So just to make it fair, so people don't feel like they're getting busted out, I think we're just going to leave that one. I think, but I don't remember anything else.
No, people have to kind of remind me. I forgot the waiver. You just reminded me. That was the one.
Yeah, but I mean, anybody out there, send me a text or like whether it's privately or if you just want to do it over the forum, let me know, and we can put them out for votes or whatever the case is. Of course, if nothing comes back in, then nothing changes. Status quo is fine. You know, like what I was saying to Brian is, in my personal opinion, if you're going to tie draft picks to your previous record, you should probably have more than one keeper, in my mind. But as I say that, I'm literally just one of 10 people in their opinion. So it's not like the commish says. It's like no. It's just in my mind. I'm like, well, if you're gonna tie it to that, you know, because you can win and not really have a keeper. So it's just a different thing. But if you want to keep it at 1 or go back to 0 and just do a redraft, it doesn't matter. You just let us know, right?
Okay.
Yeah. That's about it. I think that's all I got.
I thought that's pretty good for the first one. It's not bad. We got under an hour, so that's not bad. Bye.
Incredible draft analysis from the sauna.
Not pretty good. Pretty good, yeah.
The Sawncast?
I think we got to do it for sure. Like we have to do like one official, like real sauna, and then we'll see how.
I don't think that the technology would make it. Like, can our technology survive in 200-degree Fahrenheit?
Guess we're gonna find out.
I guess so.
Okay. See you, Aaron.
See you, boys.
Time.
Well, that concludes this episode of the Banter Brothers with your host, Brian Paulo, and his co-host, Nick Johnson. Make sure you tune in each and every week where they'll be ripping up the airwaves, delivering you the fantasy football highlights. Again,